Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Greeting, traveler.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I am your host, as always, Nate Wolf. It is great to be back on another Friday evening here in sunny summertime, Portland, Oregon. I always look out the window when I do this to make sure that the weather that I'm saying is accurate. Like I didn't know that it was freaking 85 degrees outside today. Anyways, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be joined by Hydra and ElectricSheepCity. How are you guys doing? Hydra, I'll start with you. How's it going, dude?
I am doing amazing. I'm stoked to be back this week. This past week flew by, and I'm excited to talk to my buddies tonight.
Yeah. How's it going, Sheep?
Yeah, I am good. Been a long week myself, but here now, getting to talk Hearthstone with some friends. Let's go.
I love, we always like the spreadsheets that you put together are always super handy. And so I'm excited to do kind of a card review show tonight, mixed in with all this other news that we got. Like there's so much stuff this week. It's been just we went from complaining about no news for several weeks, oh, what is there to talk about? I'll just pick my nose for a couple hours to oh, by the way, in this new patch, there's 87 new things for you to check out. I think the number is 94, but anyways.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Well, let's get into seeing how we were doing this week. Nate, what's been going on with you? What's new, man?
Yeah. So a combination of Hearthstone and other stuff, I think. So we had Memorial Day this past week, which is great, and appreciate very much what our veterans do for us, and just appreciate that sacrifice. I think for me. We had the day off as a holiday, and it was very nice to have the day off, but it ruined my entire week because it threw everything off by a day. And so where I work, it's we get a holiday, but you pay for it. So instead of having, it's a day off, but now we have 5 days worth of work jammed into 4 days. And so it was just a whirlwind of crazy at work. So, but for me, I've been playing a lot of Mass Effect. I just have really been enjoying that franchise. It's one of my favorite of all time. I could do a podcast on it. I love it. How Hat does his Hades podcast. I could do a Mass Effect podcast. Not going to, but I really enjoy it. I beat Mass Effect 1. I started Mass Effect 2. I'm about halfway through, I think, ish. It's one of those, I don't sleep super well. I think it's probably a stress levels thing. So I end up staying up really late and then waking up really early and then catching up on the weekend. It's unhealthy. I know that. But it's been great. I play late at night and then I wake up and I get to play before work. And it's that helps me manage my stress level. It's a wonderful, wonderful series of games though.
Now, are you playing to be a completionist here, or are you sort of just going through the story?
Kind of both, because there's all these side missions and stuff. What's crazy is when you do the story, it's sort of like a choose your own adventure. So they call it you can either be the nice guy or the mean guy, and they call it Paragon and Renegade. But you get points for doing these things. And if your points are high enough, then you can influence people. So I can charm somebody into doing what I want, or I can intimidate them to doing what I want. But it influences the story, and so people can live or die, or you make these big decisions and they carry over from 1 into 2 into 3. Something that I did in the first game has a major storyline impact in game 3. It's crazy. And so these are super fun games, and I'm not a big sci-fi fan. Really, I'm truly not. At least I don't consider myself one. And these are 100% pure sci-fi. I mean, it's your Star Trek, Star Wars, Mass Effect. It's just the same.
It's a gateway drug.
So since you're playing Paragon, you are playing to win friends and influence people rather than lose friends and alienate people.
Yeah, that is pretty much how we do. What's kind of fun is, I mean, for anybody playing it, what I recommend is either go full Paragon or full Renegade. Like the first time I ever played, I was like, I'm just going to make the decisions that I would make, like Nate personally, that are kind of middle of the road. The problem is you rack up Paragon or Renegade points, and there's decisions that you can influence people, but only if your skill level is high enough. And so my middle of the road approach, like my Paragon score was too low and my Renegade score was too low. And so there'd be some like, do I want to, if my score was high enough, I could either save this person's life or kill them. But because my score is not high enough, like I have all these middle of the road boring choices and I don't get to make that giant decision. And I was like, well, this is kind of dumb. I just get the mediocre, like kind of So if you want to truly experience it, like go full Renegade or go full Paragon, and it's a different story each way, but it's more complete than it would be like, I don't know. Anyways, I totally recommend it. It's a really fun series. If anyone wants to talk about it, I'm happy to talk about it off of the show. I could talk about it for hours. Really fun thing. I did play through the Xyrella solo content yesterday. It was pretty fun. It was very similar to Rokara in that there's multiple mercenaries that all intersect through the story, kind of see where they're going with it, and it's been fun. It's definitely different than the Book of Heroes. It's telling, like, clearly telling a story, which I like. And then one thing that the last thing that I want to bring up, because we had talked about it last week on the show, is I logged into my HBO Go account and Dr. Sleep is back. Like, it was gone last week and it's back now. And they include the director's cut. So if you have HBO or you have a friend's account, like you can have 5 people share an account. Like, well, with 5 profiles, I should say. 5 profiles on one account. I'm not advocating account sharing, for the record. Anyhow.
That's an option, not encouraging you to do it.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So the director's cut is there. It's 29 minutes longer than the original film, which is crazy. That's a lot of extra content. You don't need to watch both. Like, if you're going to watch one, just watch the director's cut. It's really good. It's really
good advice. I did double check after you told me that, and I saw that it's there. So
it's so good. So that has been my week. Last night I watched American Werewolf in London, and that was something else. I have the soundtrack stuck in my head. Like, it's like a gory film with like a doo-wop soundtrack, which is very odd. But anyways, that's what I've been up to. Sheep, how about you? What have you been up to this week?
Yeah, so this week we're back in the office 100%. And the coworker who I'm the backup for is out of the office for this and next week. So I've mostly been playing like work this week rather than, like other stuff, because it's just been juggling a lot, which happens sometimes. But this morning I did actually end up making that legend push before work. I was getting ready for work, just kind of like chilling in the bathtub and playing some games on my phone, and the aggro, the hyper aggressive version of that aggro druid that I was sharing with Hydra ended up getting me there. So let's go, got there.
Wow.
And that one preys upon the new I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but the new combo lock.
Bathtub legend. Wow.
Yeah, so
hey, that's
there in the
great.
tub.
I love it. That's
making it look easy.
I mean, there are less distractions there, so it makes sense.
Very true.
I struggle with it because I always like picture in picture and like watch Netflix on like the little tiny screen and then Hearthstone on the big screen. But for me, like, it's usually I'll play Battlegrounds because it's my like zone out mode. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Bathstone, that's pretty great. Hydra, what have you been up to this week?
Yeah, so this week it flew by for me, really, because for the very first day, Monday, my son was sick. He got a kind of fevery, and he ended up staying home from school, and was a bit of a mess there. And the next day we had our COVID shots. So I got my Pfizer, like shot 1 finally, and Mrs. Hydra reacted to it a little more harshly than I did. I basically got like a mini fever. I don't know. My head was a little hot and maybe just a little bit tired. So we took it easy this week, just relaxed. I did a lot more just TV watching, laying on the couch or laying in bed in the evenings. But yeah, I felt sorry for my wife because she basically got the flu like from it. Like she got the chills and the fever and the nausea and just like full blown not fun times. But I guess it's probably better than getting the virus. So she unfortunately had to deal with that, but it went good, except for the lineup. That when we went, it was one of those hot for Canada, hot 85, 87-ish degree days. And the lineup where we went was on the outside of the mall, and it was facing south where the sun was coming down and you were standing against a brick wall with the concrete like all there. And I couldn't believe how many people, there was at least 100 people in front of us in line, and we were like wrapped around the mall, and we were all social distancing like apart from each other.
Yeah.
So you were just baking, and every once in a while you got to a little awning where you could sort of stand under it and like hide in the shade a little. And that felt great for the 2 minutes you got to be under the awning. And at some point I realized that I had an umbrella in my truck. I'm like, that would be a good idea. But at this point, they had already collected behind me like another 30, 40 people. So I'm like, ooh, lose my spot in line or get umbrella? Or not get umbrella, just like bake. I guess I'll bake because I did not want to stand there longer. So we just stood in line. Anyways, it was good. The needle, it was really a lot easier than like I thought. It was just like the tiniest little prick, barely felt it. Very well organized. It went really good. So I was pretty stoked by that.
Nice.
Yeah. So it went pretty good. Hearthstone wise, I followed Sheep's advice, and he had recommended the aggro druid last week. And I will say right off the bat, I didn't do super well with it instantly, trying to just figure out what I keep, what I don't keep. Do I really go hard for looking for that pirate? Do I always dig, or do I toss away something, that makes sense? Like I've got a gibberling and like a spell where I can instantly, get another one. Like a little struggling trying to figure it out at the beginning, but I ended up going on many win streaks, and I played it. I don't have, so Sir Finley Murgleton is in the deck, and not necessary, but cool. So on NA, I used Sir Finley, and on the other 2 servers, I had everything except for Sir Finley, so I just put in 2 Arbor ups, or 1 Arbor up on each server, I guess. And that totally carries you. It actually may even be better. I don't know. Like it was really good. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So yeah, it worked out really good, and that's basically been my week. I wanted to play more Resident Evil 7. The idea was to finish it, but didn't end up doing so. Like I said, had a sick kid and got our shots, so bit of a lazy week for me. But Mrs. Hydra did do something really, really cool this last weekend. She made another one of her crocheted inventions, and she made the innkeeper.
It's so good. It's so good.
Looks amazing.
There's like low-key petition for her to start an Etsy shop. Like she's so good. I showed my wife this. I was like, dude, look what she made. It's so cute. And the picture doesn't do it justice. I mean, you were holding it up right before the show. Oh my goodness. Like it is.
He's right here.
Look who it is.
Welcome to the inn.
He's so big too. Like I'm just so impressed. I love it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I took 1,000 photos of this trying to like get the best one, because when you have it here like in person and even in video, it looks like way better than the photo. But like when something, she puts this much detail into everything, like the little, like the beard with, she put like these bands around it to tie the mustache and the beard up and everything. And she even put like the Hearthstone swirl like on his belt. Like I don't even know if that's really on the actual guy, but she just added that to be like, check it out. Just all the detail and the little hands and everything. Yeah, she did a good job, made a coat for him. It's just super sweet. She put a lot of time into it.
Nice.
But yeah, no, like made me like really happy. I have a really cool Hearthstone wife.
Right? That's great. That's great. I love it.
So maybe let's transition into the Born to be Wild listener series. Sheep, what do we have going on?
Yeah, so currently we are in week 5 of season 2. So this week's deck building restriction. So first off, it's called Stack Wars. So you've got to have at least 15 minions. You can, of course, have spells, weapons, and hero cards as well. But the big rules for this one are that your deck has to have 3 cards at every mana cost from 1 to 10. So only 1 to 10, no zeros, nothing over 10 that can be discounted, like what is it, like Snow Fury Giant.
No giants, no wisps.
Yeah. So if it starts at, like Flesh Giant starts at 8, that's an 8. That counts as 8 because that's what it shows up as in your little deck building screen thing. But you've got to have 3 of each of those. So 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 4s, 5s, etc. So, if you've got 3 of everything from 1 to 10, boom, that adds up. You got your 30 cards. That's your deck. Obviously, it's more nuanced than just that.
It was kind of fun deck building experience. I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but one of the recent changes that we implemented was that the decks are hidden until submission deadlines. So you can't see what anybody else has built. So it really like varies it up a little bit. I had a lot of fun with this one. And unfortunately my opponent didn't submit decks. So like I just get a free win this week, but like,
oh no,
I had a lot of fun with it. This was a good one. I'm interested to kind of see how it plays out and what other people built. So, this was a fun challenge.
Yeah, it looks like a blast. We had some really innovative deck building going on. I'm really looking forward to seeing who kind of edges out. Because at the start of the week, before it kind of got going, we've got our top 15. Swaguars pulled out the lead, got 19 points. Maxi Bon with 18. Corbett with 17. Absolute, Bane, Ben from Work, and Duo Cat all at 16. Ben X, Chaos Nova, Martian Boo, Sir Julian the Tall at 15. Then our buddy Hydra, Jordan MG, Kinray, and Schmoopy Daddy rounding out that top 15.
Nice.
With 14 points.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, Swag totally destroyed me. So he earns that top spot up there. It was like, so him and I had decided that we were both going to run Nozdormu, the new Nozdormu in our decks. And
how did that work out?
Well, I guess I shouldn't go against like a meme king in a deck building contest. In the last hero standing with Nozdormu in our decks. Like
what could go wrong?
he made an odd paladin, and it stomped me. Everything I had was just too slow, and there was nothing. Like my decks were fine in a vacuum, but
right.
against odd paladin, it was I was just done. It was almost embarrassing, really.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't.
At
That's
least with Nozdormu in the deck. The games were over quick.
yeah.
They would have been over quick either way. Like just when he can hero power and put little dudes on the board every turn, I guess that really beats slow control decks, which is kind of like what I made, like big boy decks.
Yeah, that's what I made too, and I hadn't even considered the odd paladin because the deck building restrictions, and after I had already submitted, I played some test games against Ben from work, who had also brought an odd paladin and just wrecked me. And I was like, that how does that fit? How can you can't build odd paladin with these restrictions? He's like, it's like low key probably the sleeper best deck that anybody could have brought this week, and I just got stomped. Which is funny because like I did all these test games against NHL and Blue Train, and I was doing so good, and then I go to Ben, I get with his aggro odd paladin, and just got absolutely destroyed. I was like, oh, I missed it. Well, whatever. It was fun, and this has been a neat experience. So I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, so this is the last week of the playoff or of the regular season. Next week we will be into playoffs. So the top 8 players will go on. So that's the most points. Our top 8 go on. If we have any tiebreakers, then we will look at opponent win rate. So that's why, right now, for example, Jordan MG is kind of thrown in the middle there with 2 match wins. Less match wins than his opponents.
Mm-hmm.
That part, once we kind of look at the points, we'll do opponent win rate to see who gets there. So it's not match wins or game wins that are those tiebreakers. So if, of course, our top 8 are completely decided by points, we don't even need to look at tiebreakers because there won't be any ties.
Yeah.
So the playoffs are 3 weeks. So we've got 8 players going head-to-head in week 1. 4 players in week 2, and then the finals are the top 2 facing off for the grand prize.
Yeah, that'll be pretty fun. We'll have to figure out. Ideally, we can stream some of these later matches as well. That would be a lot of fun,
for sure.
Yeah. So for anybody interested in participating in season 3. This season does, of course, like we said, have 3 more weeks, the playoffs / finals. And then we will be taking a break before we return for season 3. So stay tuned for more information. We'll have a little bit more of a kind of lead-in time, and then a little bit of a break in between those two. So stay tuned, but more info to follow. So Hydra, I know that we talked about your personal week, but what's this week had in store for the news? Because I think there's been a little bit of it this week.
Has there?
Just a little.
Yeah. Well, we got a patch. We got some news. We got a few things going on. So patch 20.4 released yesterday on June the 3rd. And we got a whole bunch. And so let's start off with some nerfs. Yeah. First up, our very first card is First Day of School. Got another hit. It is now, instead of add 3 minions to your hand, 1 cost minions, it is add 2 minions to your hand of 1 cost. So back to 2, and it keeps its cost of 1 mana instead of being the 0 mana it originally was. How do you guys feel about this?
I know exactly why they made this change. That's exactly why. They didn't want to change the art. Add 3 random 1 cost minions to your hand. It's only got 2 students in the art. They had to make it match.
That's like the best reason that I could. I was surprised they didn't make this change in the first place when they went from 0 to 1. I thought it would be just okay. It increased by 1 mana. That seems fair. And then you got an extra minion. I was like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I mean,
so what I think they were trying to do is kind of what they did with Crab Rider, where yes, they kind of were hitting it, but they were trying to take away kind of one of the elements of it. So for First Day of School, it was a tempo card and it was a value card. 0 cost, 2 1/1s, you can immediately play 1. It's initiative and it's value. And so they were trying to hit the tempo aspect of it while keeping the value, and it was just still too strong, especially in hand buff.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're buffing 3 things. So I think it's a fine nerf. I don't think it's a bad card. I think it's okay.
It seems fair.
Yep. I mean, 1 mana, get 2 things. pretty good. Let's move on to our next nerf, Hand of a Doll. It remains at 2 mana, but instead of giving +2/+2 and drawing a card, it now gives +2/+1, making that minion that you buff just a little more vulnerable to getting, uptraded by something else. I think that, it's still a pretty decent card, but it's going to make that turn 1 minion that you originally played way easier to kill. Sheep, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Hand of a Doll, in particular in Standard, was played in pretty much every Paladin archetype they had. They had to touch on it a little bit in order to let other archetypes kind of have a spot. Of course, we know that they were nerfing for Standard, so it makes sense that they hit the hand. And like you said, having the nerf be to the health keeps, something from being as sticky on board. So, you still got them being able to trade up, just not being able to necessarily keep a minion on board. I think this was a really good nerf and kind of necessary to actually see anything new with the mini set in Standard. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, because when you play a 1/3 on turn 1 for your Libram, card, I don't remember what it's called, and then you play this on turn 2, giving it, so it's now a 3/5 on turn 2. It's like, how do you kill that? Like, it's just too hard. So, it makes sense to me. My big question is, what happens when these rotate? Are they gonna undo the nerfs? That'll be an interesting question. I know that XR has kind of talked about that a little bit. And it's super brief side note, I do want to give a big shout out to the State of Wild podcast, Get Me Out and Corbett and Raffle, who did have Ixar on their last episode, and it was really cool because he was talking about nerfs in general and Wild and some thought process into how nerfs happen and how they interact with Wild. So I don't want to deviate too much, but it was a really cool show, and there's some friends of ours, and I recommend listening to that. If you don't follow them already, you should, and definitely listen to that episode because you really get some interesting insight from Dean. So the nerf seems fine to me.
We got one more card here, and this is more of like a change in how the card works. It's a naming convention change. This is Unbound Elemental. So it remains a 3 mana 3/4 elemental. It keeps all the stats and everything, but instead of reading whenever you play a card with Overload, gain 1/1, it now says after you play a card with Overload, gain 1/1. So what exactly does this mean? How does this card now work differently than it used to work with this basically one word change of whenever to after?
Yeah, so the biggest one is with guidance. So guidance, it would give you 2 options, or you could take one Overload and get both. I think at the very least that this was mostly put in there for guidance, because if you were choosing both and you had Unbound Elemental on board, since it was whenever you played the Overload card, the card itself wasn't Overload and you weren't getting the buff. Whereas now, since it's after, if you choose the Overload option, Unbound Elemental gets buffed. So I think that's the only thing that I'm aware of that is impacted by this. It's just trying to make it relevant.
Makes sense.
Sure.
And
I don't know. I looked at this and it's like, it doesn't look like a change to me. Like, okay.
I read the card, like the 2 pictures over and over and over again, not noticing the one word change, like going back and forth for the longest time trying to figure out what had happened here.
They really wanted the text on 2 lines instead of 3. That was
Yeah, so they picked a shorter word.
It's an aesthetic choice.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate that they are trying to, make these more understandable and have them work better. So, yeah, good on them.
Yeah, I can't complain. Trying to keep things consistent. I mean, that's a good thing. So let's move on to what else we have in store. And guess what we have in store is things you can spend your gold on. we have a
In store.
whole.
But
That was great.
We've got 11 hero skins and 94 card backs now available. And while I did use the pun about the store, you actually can find these in your collection manager. If if you want to quote unquote craft these, so you spend your gold on the hero skins and the card backs that have returned, but you do it through your collection manager. So when you scroll through all the card backs and you see the grayed out ones that you've missed in the past, they are now all that light blue color where you can craft them. So if that's something that you're interested in crafting these things using your gold, and you like, for me, this is a bit of a struggle, right? Because they drop this as soon as you've built up all that gold from the rewards track. Like, I'm sitting on 6,000 or 7,000 gold or something ridiculous. I don't know, something high that I could spend most of filling up my collection with all of the card backs that I've missed. So personally, I don't have the monthly card backs from 2014. And
Yet.
it's yet. I know, right? And 2015 is spotty. So I've got like a good, I mean, all of 2014 I could buy and a few in 2015. So that basically could spend most. I didn't do the math, but I could probably spend a lot of my gold on these things, and I might do so. So I don't.
And
Go
I
ahead.
have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Sheep, what have you done? What have you done here?
So let's see. I had enough gold for like 90 packs if the new expansion were to hit today. And now I have 4265
Ooh,
gold.
so you spent a good 5K. So let's for starters, the hero skins you can craft are 1,200 or 1,800, sorry, gold, and that depends on whether they come with the card back or not. And the card backs are 500 or 600 for the card backs. So how did you spend this 5,000 gold that you had?
So I already had like all of the hero card or hero portraits because I'm a whale. I bought them whenever they came out. This is the way. But like you, I had quite a few things missing from December 2014, and like I wasn't yet paying for things whenever TGT came out and BRM came out, so I picked those up too, and the Power Core. So all told, I got like what 3.
Wait,
6,
did you just
9?
say you can buy Power Core now?
You can
Yeah,
buy
dude.
Power Core now.
No,
Yep.
that's like my favorite one that nobody has.
Yeah.
Ah,
So yeah, I bought 9 card
Wow.
backs.
Wow.
And now I can't buy any more.
Right? Yeah, I feel you there.
how about you, Nate?
Yeah, so it was similar for me. I think I had started playing back in Naxxramas, and I remember when BRM came out, and I did not pre-order it, and so I missed out on that card back and a couple of the other ones. The first card back that I ever got was the Ninja card back.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
so and then periodically every once in a while there will be one that comes out that I've picked up in the store, but so I spent 4,100 gold. I ended up getting the Pandaria, Maraud, Gnomes, Pirates, Ice Crown, Rainbow, Black Temple, and Blackrock Mountain. So yeah, I went from 85.95 to 44.95. I also had all of the hero skins. Now, so here's my thought. I've seen a lot of people sort of talking about, well, the exclusivity of it like goes away because you're giving these away to everybody now, or they're available to purchase to everybody. And there's pros and cons, and I realize that, but at the end of the day, like, okay, you had this exclusive thing for like 6 years,
I guess.
and now you don't. But at least you had it for a long time. I mean, it is what it is. It's not like anything I say makes a difference. I'm happy to. Okay, so here's the reason I snapped these up. My thought in my greedy little whale brain was like, what if they change their mind and decide to remove the Pandaria card back? I need to get it on day one. Otherwise, they're going to realize that they made a mistake and take it out. And I was like, no, it's not happening to me. So...
That was my exact thought, and but like I didn't know what to do. I was torn. I thought that exact same thing. Maybe like there'll be so many complaints they pull this tomorrow. And I'm like, what do I do?
I did want to include that Celestalon tweeted about some clarification on their thought process for what went in the store and what didn't. And then one other thing that I don't know that we touched on was that there's no end date for these. Like a lot of times we'll have like, this is in the store for the next 2 weeks. Like, nah, these are just available. And that's the distinction. Like, of course, I didn't read the instructions, or the patch notes. Like I skimmed the patch notes. I was like, oh, cool, these are available. And I'm sitting here looking at the store, and I was like, "Oh, something's wrong. They're not in my store. How did Immick get them? They're not in my store. Did I get I downloaded the patch? Did I get a different patch?" And then I went and reread, and I was like, "Oh, I just didn't read it." Like, okay, you go to your collection manager, and that's where you find them. So, for those people who also do not read the patch notes, like Hydra was saying, go to your collection manager where your card backs would be. Or your hero portraits would be, and where they're grayed out, you like right click on them, and then you can purchase them. I thought it was interesting that you can only purchase them with gold. You cannot use cash. That was an interesting decision. It is what it is. I mean,
I'm curious if at this point maybe they might consider giving us more gold for stuff if they're going to be, using it as a currency for this type of thing.
Yeah.
Tinfoil hat.
So
maybe.
Celestalon tweeted, he said, I've seen lots of questions about which card backs are included here. You'll be able to check in the collection manager tomorrow, meaning yesterday, but here's some general philosophy. Still available in-game somehow like adventures? No. Seasonal? Yes. Hearthstone pre-purchase or other bundles? Yes. Cross-game promotions? No. Cough Diablo, cough. Because that was in the shop, but whatever. High skill based, so like the Legend or Golden Celebration, no. Live events depends on how widespread available they were. BlizzCon is a no. And he said these aren't hard and fast rules. Some exceptions may be made in one direction or another, and there are a billion different ways that card backs have been given out over the year. So no one solution always fits. I think that's interesting. I mean, 94 card backs available. That's a lot.
That's a lot. I'm glad that I only have like I think 10 or something that I could spend my gold on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Diablo one was actually from like a tavern brawl. So I think what he meant by the kind of cross promotional thing is like if you pre-order the Overwatch collector's edition or whatever, since it's buying a different game, that's how you got it. Whereas the Diablo one, which is a kickin' rad card back, I love it. Glad that I've had it for so long and didn't have to spend gold now because I would have bought it again.
Yeah, the Overwatch one, there's a star.
That's kind of big distinction.
Yeah, I think Overwatch, there's StarCraft, there's the World of Warcraft ones, there's the Nexus one from Heroes of the Storm. I got my. I don't play Overwatch, so I got mine for $5 on eBay, like the code.
Nice.
I literally bought Overwatch to get the card back. Right?
I considered it, and I did not know that you could get the code on eBay.
So the way that it works, is you the game, like, because we got it later. My son plays it on Switch, and when you get the game, you open up the cartridge or the box, and there's like a little insert tucked in that just has a code on it. So people were just taking out that insert and then selling them.
Yeah.
And I bought it on eBay right when it came out, and I messaged the person. I was like, "Don't mail it to me. Can you just tell me what the code is? Like, I don't want to wait a week. Like, just tell me what it is, and then I'll tell you that I got it, and then you don't need to mail anything." And it worked wonderfully. So
On the bright side, though, I like when I did spend the full money on Overwatch, I ended up actually not playing the game for like 2 years or something, and then played it. And I was like, man, this is actually pretty fun.
this is pretty good.
Why did I wait so long?
I think many of us have experienced that. There's got to be a term for it, but when you buy 500 games on Steam sale and then you never play them all, that's a thing.
It's definitely a thing. My Steam is like shaking its fist at me. The library is full of these games I have not played yet. Or
Cheers.
Right? So next in news, we have different packs in the shop that you can purchase. You can now buy standard packs and wild packs.
What?
Yes, those have always existed in their separate expansions exclusively, but they are two types, just standard all lumped in together and wild all lumped in together. So a good benefit to this is if you're looking to fill out your collection and you're missing cards from all different sets, you can literally just buy wild packs. You're looking for wild cards, you can buy wild packs. It just blankets everything. And
with a duplicate protection, this is a really good way to fill in your collection. I mean, granted, so we've seen in the Discord over the past couple of days, people buying some of these and kind of showing their pack openings. And you end up with a bunch of weird legendaries that you never really wanted. The other, what did we see earlier today? The other corrupted Mukla. Yeah. And yes, my understanding is that they pity timers, like I think you're guaranteed a legend within the first 10. Mm-hmm. I bought some and I opened a legend on my first pack.
Wow.
That's a really good way to keep the pity timer just straight between all of the expansions, right? Like, say you buy 50 TGT packs, but you got a legendary on the 30th one, and the last 20 you didn't get a legendary, right? So now you're like, oh man, I got to keep buying TGT packs until I get a legendary. But this way, you just can buy the same pack over and over and over again, and you have the same pity timer across everything.
It's good, especially if you're only missing a couple of cards from a set. That, like, I'd rather get a bunch of like rares, common, epics that I don't have versus duplicates if I'm just hunting for one legendary or two legendaries or whatever.
Yep.
It's interesting. I like it. I think for people who are trying to complete their collection, this is super cool.
I think it's cool, and I think it's like bait almost for me, because I don't need to buy these on NA at all.
It's very dangerous.
It's very dangerous because I have the other two accounts that I play on. I'm like, ooh, these look appealing. And I like to try to stay as close to free to play over there as possible. But it's like, oh, Hydra, why don't you buy these packs over there? So
the little person on your shoulder is the same one that's on mine. They must talk to each other because I was exactly.
Buy your packs, Hydra.
Like, yeah, but I don't need any cards. Yeah, and then you know what I thought? We need to support the small indie company by showing them that there is definitely a want for wild packs.
Exactly.
Like
we're trying to.
That's what I told myself. That's how I justified it. I didn't need these. It's terrible. You guys, it's working. But
so how much did you prove to Blizzard that they should continue to support?
Yeah, I bought a 60-pack bundle.
Nice.
I did see randomly yesterday that Nate Wolf had opened Zephyr's the Great, and I'm like, what's happening down there?
I pulled 3 legends, so it was one every 20 packs, which is normal. Solid. I pulled a lot of gold cards actually, which was great. No gold legends, but a lot of golden cards, which is always nice. So
yeah, I got the 15 pack mostly because of the first 10 packs. Mm-hmm. You're guaranteed the legendary.
Oh yeah.
And I got 2 legendaries. I mean, I have a complete collection, so they were, duplicates, but like that's good dust. And I probably won't buy a whole lot of the wild pack stuff outside of that because I complete collection, whale status. But definitely wanted to take advantage of the free dust.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then you could be prepared
not
for like some sort of rotation or new expansion where you want to craft a new legendary and gold before it comes in or whatever. You will be prepared.
Exactly.
Got to get that.
Man,
dust
you guys are
somehow.
giving me so many good ideas for like my mental like soundboard. Oh yes, I want the Danger Zone song, and I want the You Are Not Prepared. Oh man,
We'll have to plan that.
It's yeah, we will.
Okay, so next up in news, we have another installment in the Book of Mercenaries, and that is Zarella. Nate, you had mentioned you'd played this already. It's there. It's free. If you beat it, you get a standard priest pack. So keep that in mind. Standard priest pack. I thought it was fun, as you mentioned, Nate. I played through it as well. It didn't take like too long or anything, but I appreciated the story. It was fine. Sheep, did you give this a shot yet?
Yeah, I played the Zarella Book of Heroes at lunch this afternoon.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was a fun one. I
Well,
really
that's really
like
cool.
the storytelling of, this one is different from the ones that, I already know Malfurion a decent amount, even though I, have more of a surface level of the WoW lore. I didn't know anything about the mercenaries. Rokaro, of course, is brand new. Zarella, brand new story for me as well. So it was really fun.
Yeah, I liked them too. It was funny at the end. They're like, "Hey, I'm searching for this shard." And they're like, I'm searching for this shard." They're like, I'm searching for the shard too." I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but like, it was entertaining. I cannot wait for the Guff one. That one will be wonderful.
Yeah, so coming soon. That actually Guff drops on June 15th in about 2 weeks on a Tuesday. So we'll get Guff, and then after that we get Book of Heroes Malfurion, which is dropping very close after the next week on June 22nd. So those
Yeah,
are actually pretty close together.
Like rapid fire, yeah.
We've had quite a gap, hey, of these, so I'm okay with that. And if there's some hero skins and some packs to buy, I'm okay with that too, because I like to.
So the Emerald Malfurion skin is available in the collection manager right now.
It looks so cool.
It looks so good. I mean, you can't, like, it's locked, right? And
Yeah.
it doesn't say, like, it's blank where, like, I took the screenshot and it's blank where it says how you get it or whatever. And so I just assumed that it's one of these pre-order bundles. And so they haven't said anything, but my assumption is, so take it at face value, but my assumption is that there's no bundle options or hero skins for the mercenaries because you get them via reward track, where with the Book of Heroes there are, because they're alternate hero skin. This Malfurion one, I don't even play that much Druid, and this is gorgeous. It's so nice. Like, it's just, the colors are super vivid. I really like it.
The like ethereal cascading cape, like emerald cape, just looks so cool.
It has, well, and it talks about, it calls it Emerald Malfurion, and he dreams in color. It's the Emerald Dream, and the whole, like, it's just, like, the little picture on the screen doesn't do it justice, but do yourself a favor, open up the client, go to your hero skins and pull this up, and it's like, yes, the colors of the hero portrait are like the colors of my microphone. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Oh, well, I'm really glad I've branched out to playing Druid.
Oh,
Would you say that you have taken a branching path?
I have.
now that you've been finding your roots.
Ooh. Oh man. Well, I can't top that one.
We'll see what that's about.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. We've got some bug fixes and some in-game improvements. there's a long list of fixes that you guys can check out in the patch notes. But one thing that we noticed yesterday was how the friends list looks a little bit different. I mean, it's still a little shaky, but I had asked Nate because it had a weird tag next to his name. And
Mine was so weird. It says you're doing juggling octo something. What was it?
Juggling 8 hands, I think is what it said. Something like that. It was really silly. So I had to send you a message saying, "What are you doing?" and then you wrote back that you were versing Octosari as a boss.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. And so that's where we figured out that there was some changes when it came to the friends list and what your friends are doing. Because normally, like when you see a friend that's, playing, it'll just say in play mode, like battling in play mode or whatever. Now it'll actually say whether you're in ranked standard or ranked wild, or I'm sure it would say casual, wild, or standard. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of different things that it's adding now, because I was scrolling through and seeing all these sorts of weird changes.
Yeah. What I'll really be curious about is the solo content. So for those of you listening to the audio version, we've got a screenshot here. So I've got Saint doing ranked standard, Schmoopy Daddy doing ranked wild, and then Kay battling the Lich King, which is kind of cool. So it tells you what people are doing. This is interesting. I kind of like it. Some of them are confusing though. Like battling the Lich King makes sense to me, but doing like the one that it showed for me the other day was so weird. Like Hydra was like, "I'm sorry, you're doing what now?" It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a little strange. But I think it's neat. I think it's just another little touch that Team 5 likes to do with, we've got flavor text, we've got all sorts of little jokes, and it's just a cool little thing that they've added to the game. So
yeah,
no complaints from me. Next up, the mini set, the Wailing Caverns, has arrived. It contains 35 brand new cards, 66 in total. There are 4 legendaries, 1 epic, 14 rare, and 16 common. You can grab it for $14.99 USD, or you can spend 2,000 gold. And this happened yesterday.
Yep.
So you can get this right now. I personally grabbed this for the money. I grabbed this on NA with the cash, and I bought it that way. And then I purchased it as well on the other servers with the gold that I've earned. So it felt really good as somebody who doesn't like to spend money elsewhere, and to buy that with my gold, and still had plenty to spare, saving for the next coming expansion. What did you guys do? Sheep, did you grab this right away?
Oh yeah, I grabbed this right away and just passed with my money so that I could, spend some gold on some card backs that I missed.
Yeah.
How about you, Nate?
Yeah, same. What I was trying to do was I was trying to save up my gold, like ever since the expansion launched, Forge in the Barrens launched. I've been saving gold since day one, because I was trying to see how much gold I could make over the course of this expansion. And then I was just going to spend it on packs when the next one launches. And so this came out, and so I just bought it with cash. And I was slightly disappointed, honestly, that I had to buy the card backs with in-game gold, because I was trying to save it as a little mini experiment to see how much I could save up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I just spent like almost half of what I had saved up, but it's still, it's still cool. I like that I was able to get these. I'm really excited for the people who are able to get the hero portraits, especially. Like, yeah, I mean, the card backs are cool, but you can't see them very well. The hero portraits are just awesome, and especially, I see your cat in the background, and she's very pretty. Sorry, squirrel. The hero portraits are super cool, especially lately, because they've redone the emotes for all of them. So they all have custom emotes and stuff now, which is just awesome. This is super cool. So, and Hazelbark is the best druid portrait. Okay, I'm done.
Hazelbark is absolutely the best druid portrait.
I do have a soft spot for Hazelbark personally. I just think
everybody
is funny and creepy.
Everybody hates it. The only thing
that's why I like using it.
The only thing that they could do better, Chris Sierra, if you're listening, would be to give us sexy Hazelbark. Just saying.
Oh my gosh, that sexy Hazelbark is no joke. My lock screen.
It's it's so funny. It's just so funny looking. Wait. Can you hold up the phone?
I'll get you a full res picture of sexy Hazelbark for the show notes.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Well, the reason that you're all here tonight, we have a card review show to do, so I'm excited to kind of look through these. We got them so last minute, and I've been working my tail off lately, and so I didn't have a chance to really look at them until last night, and so I kind of went through and put down my thoughts. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say on those. So let's just transition over, and then Sheep, can you tell us? I think if people were interested in sort of following along or looking at this when we're done,
if you want to check out our reviews either live or afterwards, head on over to www.esheep.city/Wailing Caverns. You can follow along.
There was a quick question. What is sexy Hazelbark? I think it was Hadija, who was one of the VFX artists for Hearthstone. They've now gone on to work for a different company. I don't remember what, who is an extremely talented VFX artist. Released this. It was funny. It was like, hey, by the way, do you guys want to see the alternate artwork that we made for Hazelbark that never got used because it was really creepy? And the entire Twitter Hearthstone verse said, yes, we want to see it. And it's something special. It's very weird, and I don't even know. Words don't describe it. It's definitely something fun. Actually, you know what? Can I just put it up on the screen for 2 seconds?
No,
I should just do that.
We can't do that.
All right.
Please and thank you.
Hold on, everybody. I'll just edit this part later. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. All right, Goliath, this is for you, buddy. Let's.
Goliath's like, don't make me the scapegoat.
It was all you, Goliath.
All right, hold on. Let me put it up on the screen here.
Thank you, dearie.
You asked for it. You can't unsee it, though.
Delightful.
Which is why Sheep sees it every day.
All right, wait. Where did I save it to? Okay, hold on. I'm sorry.
In general, Dame Hazelbark to me is the tree grandma. Because she's older than all of us. You shouldn't wake the trees, child. And then when Hadija shared the sexy Hazelbark, it was like, I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me.
My favorite is that here for a lesson.
Yes.
Here for a lesson.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. There it is.
Whenever
you're welcome.
Whenever Dame Hazelbark dies, not when you concede, but whenever your opponent kills Dame Hazelbark, listen to the death sound.
Yeah. I would love to use that at some point. I don't think they'll ever release it, but it's very funny looking. Hey everybody, we're Future Nate says we're taking a break from this episode so that we can break it into smaller pieces, and part 2 will be the card review. Thank you. All right, that was super cheesy, and that did what I needed it to do.
They're a little tuckered out. They need a rest.